Hi, it's Anna here, and in this video I will show you how to put together a waterfall card with gift card pouch. I recently posted a photo of one I made on Facebook, which I had many requests for a tutorial. So many of you just wanting to know how to put it all together and the mechanics of it all. I made this card originally from a cut file I created in Canvas Workspace for the Brother Scan and Cut. However, once you know how it goes together, you may be able to make it without that file, and you could just use a scoreboard and trimmer. If you haven't received the file that you requested, please get in touch or leave a comment below. In this video, I won't be decorating the card fully. I'll just be showing you how it goes together so you know how the mechanics work of the card, and you might like to embellish it differently to the way I did. I will include a photo of the original card. I basically just wanted to really get this out so that people could start making them and showing me their lovely creations. Okay, so let's get started. This is the main mechanism part. So I'm not sure if you can see this, but there are 4 score lines on here. So what you want to do firstly is to just bend on those, both backwards and forwards. It will just help with once the card's put together to let it slide freely. And also do use a really sort of a decent weight cardstock, just so it gives it a bit more durability. So for the moment, that's all we need to do. Basically what's going to happen is this will fold over. Now you will notice that this top bit is slightly longer. That's completely fine, don't worry about it, it will all work out. So in saying that, that sort of component is finished for the minute. So once you've done that, you'll just want to start working on your panels. So I'll put that aside, just move that out the way. So these 4 panels, they'll just sit on top of one another here. So what you want to do, and depending on how you're going to embellish these panels, you want to make that decision before you obviously get started. So what I decided to do in the original card, which I would show you how I've done it here, is I've just got a white cardstock, which is just basically going to be just a little page or panel. So I have some pattern DSP paper here, which I used die cuts. So I stamped my images and then I cut them out and then I arranged them however I wanted. So I mean, depending on how you want this to look, I sort of did it in a way it looked like my little koala was sort of moving around as you pull open the mechanism. So if you want to do all that decorating, do that first on this panel. You know, I had a couple of things off where I did that, and then I just sort of chopped it on the back just so they sort of fit in, or just arrange it however you feel you would like to. But what I would do is decorate these first, then mount them onto these, and when you're fully happy and you know what you want to do, fantastic. So what I'm going to do, just for the ease of knowing how to make this, I'm just going to use just a tape runner, and I'm going to attach all of these. If you have an orientation on your patterned paper, always make sure it's in the way that you'd like it to. I mean, this one here could go either way, but what I've done with the pocket is I have aligned it so that they'll all be facing the same way. So I'll just finish putting those together. Oops. These are square, so if you did get it wrong, it's not too much of a stress, but if you've already decorated them, it might be. Okay. Almost done. Okay, so that's how they will look. So basically that's it. So once you've decorated those, this will go together very, very quickly. Now if you have some sort of order in which you want your pages to look, so in the original one I think I had koalas on the first 3 pages in all sorts of different shapes, angles, whatnot, and then on the last one I had embossed in a black sparkly embossing powder, which I just absolutely adore, just a sentiment happy birthday, which was very cute. So I will now put together the rest of this. So what you want to do is run your pages, have them there so you know in which order you want them to rest on this card. So start with this one here. Now this is going to cover this whole panel, so that will fit in there nicely. Now it is just ever so slightly bigger, this panel, but that is completely fine. So we'll just completely stick that on. We don't want that to be a flipping one. That just will stay at the very... So I might just open this so I know I've got it to the very edge there. So just line it up. Great. Oops. Fantastic. So then what you want to do is you only want to run a string of tape. Now I actually am going to use a tear and tape for this. I'm going to run a string of it just on the top here. Now you want to keep those score lines clear because that's what's going to help this to shift back and forward. This tear and tape is super strong, so it will work magnificently and keep it bonded well. Look, if you are a person who loves to use a liquid adhesive, you know, go ahead and do it. It just takes a little longer to dry, but if you need, you know, if you want that little bit of security on being able to move it around, if you're sort of a bit nervous about lining things up, that will also work. But just ensure you don't get it sort of over. You only just want a strip there. So what I'll do is I will then, not on the score line, just underneath the score line, lining it up on both top and bottom, putting that there. Then carry on with the next one once again, just underneath that score line there, and then finally, so then this one here becomes your top piece, and then second, third and bottom page. So then that will just fold over, and we have, that's basically it. So in saying that, let's not get too excited. So then these tabs on the side, so originally I had actually put score lines on here, but what I found is it was probably just easier just to fold them over. So what you want to do is just have that flat, just put a little sort of crease in that, same again. So this is going to be attached to the base of whatever you decide, whatever, you know, if you want to put it directly on a card base, or if you want to put it on some sort of shape and then put that onto the card base. But obviously you'll just need to decide that when you're thinking about how you're going to present this. So definitely using strong tear and tape. I'll put a couple of pieces on this because I really would like to make sure that that does not come away, because as I said, that's the only thing that'll be holding this down, and you don't want it to be coming away at all. Whoops. Oh, little slippery little sucker. Okay. Yep. Never wants to come off when you're filming, that's for sure. So what you want to do is line that up, and then just roughly sort of randomly line that up where you might like to have it, centering it. Perfect. Then just give that a really, really good press. Excellent. So then we've got this little piece, which in fact I might just put a little bit of, oops, that didn't work so well. Oh goodness me, making a mess of that. So yeah, so this is just to let your recipient know just to pull that out. That's the mechanics of the card so far. So there you go. So as you give it a good couple of slides. The other thing I might say is when you're folding these over, just be sure not to over, you know, make it so super tight so that you can't, you know, push it through. But once it's on the card, it will be a much easier option. It's just because it's sort of flat on that, we've got sort of nothing to pull it on, but that's great. So then the component of the gift card, sorry. So that there is the pocket. So you'll see the score lines on that. Just obviously fold those over. And what we're going to do is put some tear and tape on that as well. So I'll just quickly put that on. Okay, so we'll just take this off. For goodness, all thumbs today. So then what I would do is I would put a gift card, or even if you don't have the gift card yet, just to put, you know, like a credit card or something, just so you can have a look and see where this is at. So basically you want this bottom bit, this longer bit on the bottom. So what we're going to do, and this is a really important step, is pull this out as far as you can pull it. You want that out as far as you can pull. So the bottom of this will need to be well under that, otherwise the whole mechanism is just going to fall into a heap. So what I'll do is, actually, if you just sort of pry this corner up, that's sort of all loose. So you just need to sort of slip that in. Just don't stick it down just yet. So give yourself a little bit of a border so it's all fairly even. Looking magnificent. So then all you do is just press that in. So now that you've pulled that out, this will just slide nicely. Now this card base, I've probably used a bit of a flimsy one there, but as I said, this bottom base is a little bit flimsy, but I'll pop it on a card base so that you can see the finished product on that. But as I said, if you wanted, you could just put it directly on the card base and not even worry about that mat. Completely up to you. Okay, so now that we've gotten to this stage, we're ready to mount it on our card base if you're going to pop it on something there. So what would be a good idea is to actually prop it up on some sort of, I would usually use dimensionals, but I am waiting for a delivery to arrive. So I just have this sort of double-sided tape. So we'll just cut into a few pieces, maybe about 6 pieces. I just want to make sure I'll just put them there until I'm ready to place them on. Okay, so I'll just strategically place them so they're sort of evenly distributed around. Just some nice coverage. Okay, so what I did is I actually have a card base here that is only single, so it's not an open up one, so just a single sheet. As I thought, because it has a gift card on it, you know, there's already a lot of paper and so on here, and why not just, you know, I just then sort of matted it with a white piece of paper and ended up just stamping a sentiment, and then my son was very kind to fill in the to and from. So what I'll do is, and I think with this card what I did is I didn't center it, I actually just put it slightly higher and then I added a sentiment toward the bottom. And I think with that set there was a let's celebrate you, but I actually knocked off the U and just put let's celebrate. And that sort of just fit in just there. So as you can see, it just looks so beautiful. It's a great way to, you know, package a gift card with a really pretty card and something, you know, the recipient can keep. So just have a play with that, see how you go. And as I said, it will get easier as you maneuver that around, so just up and down. Just do be sure, I think at this one here I might have folded those over just a little too tight. But just, yeah, just gently fold them over. But have a couple of goes. You know, once you know the mechanics and see how it all works, you learn from your mistakes very quickly. And I can't wait to see some. So if you do make one, I'd love for you to get in touch and let me know and let me see what you've created. Thanks so much for watching, and thank you so much for everyone who's enjoyed this card and wanted to know how to make one. Bye for now.